The NFL offseason goes berserk.
The best golfers in the world come to Austin.
And is Ferrari back? This is Unhooked. Stay tuned for more. Welcome into Unhooked. My name is Kevin Bosker. I'm here alongside Edley Termillion and Cece Rodriguez. How are you guys doing today?
I'm having a great day today.
Happy to be here. It's my first time back on air in a while, so.
Oh, we're great to see you back on air. Now let's get straight into the show, all right? Joining us today, we have Harrison True at the Dell Match Play right here in Austin.
Last week, the Austin Country Club hosted the WGC Dell Technologies Match Play, where the top 64 players in the world played, including two former Longhorns, Jordan Spieth and Scotty Scheffler. Off to a slow start this year, Spieth has only had one top 10 finish this season. Coming into this event, he admitted of not playing as much while also battling swing changes. Scotty Sheffler, on the other hand, is red hot. He's won Bay Hill and the Waste Management Tournament this season. Although he was ranked highest in his group of Adam Scott, Justin Rose, and Keegan Bradley, Spieth finished 1 and 2 in group play. In his only win against Bradley on Wednesday, Spieth didn't lead the match until the 16th hole, where Keegan Bradley unfortunately went out of bounds. Spieth's game did not show any improvement on Thursday or Friday, losing both matches to Rose and Adam Scott. His inability to sink birdie putts and his inconsistency off the tee led to his demise. Although he did provide some Jordan Spieth marquee moments, Spieth did not give much to the Austin crowd. A year ago, Spieth ranked 33rd in strokes gained putting. Now, he ranks 141st. If Spieth wants to contend for majors and be the Spieth of old, he has got to get the flat stick going and be way more consistent from the tee box. Although it was a short week for Jordan, he does have the Valero Texas Open next weekend in time to prep for the Masters. Could this be the year that Spieth breaks through and wins a major once again? We now turn our attention to Scotty Scheffler, who once again found himself in contention in the finals for the Dell Match Play. The only American in the group, Scheffler won Group 5 of Fitzpatrick, Fleetwood, and Ian Poulter. Beating Horschel, Power, and Dustin Johnson, Scotty Scheffler faced Kevin Kisner in the championship. The UT crowd was well in favor of Scheffler, who went up 3 holes after 6, never looking back and eventually beating Kevin Kisner on the 15th hole. Whether it be long drives, eagle chips, or hole outs from the bunker, Scheffler used his momentum through 7 rounds of the event. There's not a better golfer in the world right now. Scheffler has won 3 out of his last 5 starts, making him the #1 golfer in the world, as well as earning $2.1 million for the win in Austin. This was the scene on the 15th green as Scheffler was surrounded by his family and friends. Could you have written a better story?
Yeah, definitely a lot of emotion coming off the green today. It's been kind of a crazy past few months. I got my first win in Phoenix, and I guess this is my 3rd now, and golly, what a long week. I really don't know how to describe the emotion. I've thought about winning this tournament, and ever since last year, it left kind of a poor taste in my mouth. Getting so close and ultimately coming up short. So it feels really good to finish the job this time around. Yeah, I would say this week it's definitely got a special place in my mind and heart, and I've got a lot of good memories being here in college, and it's been a long journey to this point. I had some pretty low points in college where I really fought my swing, and I fought some injuries. I fought a lot of stuff during college, and to be out here and win this golf tournament, in front of the fans down here is really special. And, like I said, I always dreamed of playing in this tournament, and, just to be out here was a treat, and to be able to play 7 rounds and finish and win is really, really special.
After 7 long rounds at the WGC Dell Technologies match play, UT alum Scotty Scheffler claimed his 3rd title on the season. He is now the world's #1 golfer and the PGA's leading money earner. As for Jordan Spieth, he struggled all week. He was unable to get out of his group as he looks to build momentum before the Masters tournament. This means he must have a good performance at the Valero Texas Open.
Spieth reached a pivotal point. Will we see him flounder or fly eventually in his career?
Hard to tell right now. It's kind of been inconsistent so far. I hope he flies, but I guess we'll see.
I have to agree with CC. It's just really up and down. Really, it's unexpected, but I think he's going to get his act together and win it all.
Only time will tell what would actually happen,
Yeah.
But we shall see how Jordan Spieth goes along and goes out and finishes off his career. But that's it for right now. After we come back from the break, we will have some great trivia. Welcome back to Unhooked. We have some trivia on our hands. Are you guys ready?
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Oh, we got some competition beefing up right now. We got to see. I'm willing to see. The prize is some grandma cookies. You guys are going to love this. Straight into our first question. We know that Canada loves hockey, right?
Yeah.
But did you guys know there's actually another national sport in Canada?
Really?
I did not know that.
So my question to you guys is that what is this other national sport? Is it A, basketball, B, lacrosse, C, cricket, or D, soccer?
Okay.
Four interesting sports.
It's not really basketball when you think about it. They only have Toronto Raptors, and really, people are low-key start looking at Toronto after they win their championship, and plus Drake being at the games. So I'm not gonna pick basketball, but soccer. Canada was good in the 80s and the 90s in the World Cup with soccer, and soccer is just a national sport. I'm gonna pick soccer.
And it is interesting to point out, like in 2026, they're actually hosting like a World Cup bid with Mexico and US. So possibly.
Yeah.
I'm not giving the answer though.
Yeah.
Cece, what do you think?
Seems like a trick question. You want to kind of say possibly cricket because of the English influence in Canada, and that's still very relevant. But something tells me I gotta go with lacrosse. It seems like a northern thing, so I'm definitely gonna go with lacrosse for my answer.
Well, the person who has won round 1. Cece, you have won round 1.
Oh.
It is lacrosse, as a matter of fact.
Oh, wow.
Hockey and lacrosse is what the national sports are. Does that come to a surprise to any of you guys?
Interesting pair.
Yeah.
Interesting pair.
It's an interesting pair.
But I mean, it definitely isn't as popular lacrosse in the U.S. So
In the
I
US,
would feel like it is a Canadian thing. Canadian thing. Anyways, to our next question, we're drastically switching from lacrosse to the NBA, and this is a very historical question. Pretty simple though. What team won the very first NBA game? Is it the Knicks, the Toronto Huskies, or Lakers, or the Celtics?
No, historic thing. I guess Boston's a historic city. I don't know. I think I'm gonna go with the Celtics on this one.
The Celtics, all right.
I was gonna lean to the Lakers because again, rivalry. But I feel like New York Knicks was the first team to win an NBA game. I think at one point in time, the Knicks were winning.
One point of time. Final answer?
Knicks.
Final answer?
Celtics.
A little drum roll, please. We have got Ed Lee winning this round. It is the New York Knicks.
Wow.
1-1 is the score right now. I say you guys are pretty competitive. You guys really want those grandma cookies, don't you?
Yep.
We love grandma.
Well, now we talked about the very first game in the NBA. I'm going to talk about someone else who was a notable first, an infamous first. You guys remember someone called Jamarcus Russell?
How can we forget about
in some ways.
the infamous Jamarcus Russell?
The man went number 1 overall in the 2007 NFL draft. And it's safe to say he had an NFL career that was
Interesting.
interesting. To put at the slightest. But that 2007 NFL draft had a lot of legendary players that came out of that draft. And I'm going to ask you, who was the second overall pick in that draft? There's 4 options I'm going to give you, 4 different players. Brady Quinn, Marshawn Lynch, Calvin Johnson, or Megatron, Adrian Peterson. 4 great players, 4 legendary players. Tell me, who was the second overall pick?
Looking back in that draft, talented, a lot of talented. Lynch, Johnson, Peterson, all talented. But I feel like it's between Johnson and Peterson. I don't think Peterson was so close. I don't think he was top 10, or maybe top 5. I'm gonna go with Megatron. I think Megatron, he was explosive in college. I think he's number 2. I'm gonna take Johnson.
Johnson over here. What you got, Stacey?
See, I think I'm gonna disagree with your Adrian Peterson one. I think he was a little closer, so I'm gonna go with Adrian Peterson on this one.
2 legendary players. It's sad to see that Megatron's career got cut short. Honestly, I feel like we could have still seen so much more.
Yeah.
Sucks to see that he was on the Lions.
Yeah.
But Adrian Peterson as well, very legendary player as well. The winner of this round is Adley Termillion. Megatron was the second overall pick, much better than the first overall pick. And Mr. Russell over here, Jamarcus Russell. Now we're going to stick with football for the next question. Okay. Well, we're going to talk about the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I'm going to give you 4 options, 4 different players, and you're going to tell me which player is not, keyword, not, in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Is it Bobby Lane? Is it Earl Campbell? Is it Vince Young? Or is it Mike Singletary? What do you guys think?
You know, I love Vince Young. Childhood hero for me. Outstanding college career. It's safe to say that he definitely deserves a spot in the Hall of Fame or in college, right? And be recognized for his college career. But his NFL career was a little different. So I think it has to be Vince Young. That has to be the answer for this question.
All right, Vince Young, what you got over here, Adley?
I know Vince Young's NFL career was not what we were expecting, but something's telling me Earl Campbell was not in the Hall of Fame. It strikes out to me.
Just a gut feeling?
Yeah, just a gut feeling.
Just a gut feeling. Well, your gut's wrong, Adley.
Okay.
Sorry. I'm sorry to put that so bluntly out there. Stacey, you have won this round. Vince Young was the one that is not in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So it is tied right now, and we got one more question on our hands. One more question that decides who gets the delicious grandma cookies. So with the FIFA World Cup coming up this year in Qatar, I think it's a good idea to end the question off with a soccer question, right? And my question to you two is, who has the most FIFA World Cup goals? And this is across all kinds, so all World Cups, a specific player, who has the most goals? And I'm going to give you 4 players: Pele, Diego Maradona, Cristiano Ronaldo, or Miroslav Klose.
Okay.
4 great players, 4 legendary players.
Yeah.
Who do you guys think has the most World Cup goals? Stacey?
I think I'm gonna have to go with Cristiano Ronaldo. Legendary player. He's been in the league for a while. He's an outstanding scorer, and top internationally for top men's scorer with 115 goals. So I think I'm gonna have to go with Ronaldo.
Good choice. What about you, Edley?
These are all legendary players. Pele in his time, great. Diego Maradona literally was the face of Argentina. God rest his soul. But I do agree with you with the Cristiano Ronaldo. But my gut is saying Kosa. He had 16 goals. He was the face of Germany. The 2002 and 2004 World Cups, he was dominated. And even in his last World Cup in 2014, even as a veteran, he was still that dude. So I'm going to take Kosa.
Well, Edley, it seems like you know your soccer history pretty well. You have won this round. Edley
Yay.
has got the grandma cookies. It was... Oh, we got to have someone toss it in. Come on.
Safely.
Well, it came in.
A little broken.
We need to have a little... There we go. A little
We
take
love-
the cameras.
We love grandma.
Here's one. It was Klosov. He was pretty great in his runs with Germany. Germany was doing really well in the World Cups. I think that's also something good to go out. They had their deep runs in the playoffs and in the World Cup playoffs. So it makes sense to see why he has the most goals at 16. I'm sorry you didn't get your grandma cookies.
It's all good.
But Ronaldo's up there. I
He
would
definitely
say.
is up there.
He's up there.
I mean, 115 goals. I mean, your logic makes sense, right?
It
You
makes sense.
would think he has the most goals in the FIFA World Cup, but he doesn't at the end of the day.
No doubt he can break it soon.
Yeah, and he could in this upcoming Qatar World Cup.
Yeah.
Well, it was a very fun game, but we got to take the break. Don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be right back after the break.
One of the best parts of college sports are rabid fan bases. This year, the culture of Texas basketball changed for the better, bringing hype to the program and giving way for two loyal fans and best friends to have their passion recognized. It's a packed house in the Frank Irwin Center. As the ball tips off, the spotlight turns to two superfans who found their way to reserved front row seating and into closed team practices. Jonathan Stewart and Muhammad Ahmed, better known as Hawaiian Shirt Guy and Incredibly Loud Guy, grew up a block away from each other.
I've been going to basketball, football games since I was a young kid. My dad kind of brainwashed me into just full Longhorn fan. Yeah, so it doesn't feel anything out of the ordinary to go to a game early and be loud. That's just what I would do naturally.
The best friends became celebrities on campus when the men's basketball social media team posted about them. Soon after, Coach Chris Beard noticed and invited them to meet the team. The two admitted that during games they did try to get on camera, but did not expect anyone to take notice.
Did not think that I was going to meet the team or anything like that. I thought it was maybe should be like one kind of like cool tweet kind of save.
Mummin was noticed soon after Jonathan as Incredibly Loud Guy.
A lot of eyes were on Jonathan since he got known as Hawaiian Shirt Guy, and I was always next to him, and I think that when they started watching him, they could hear me be very loud.
Their new roles come with a lot of pressure, like wearing the trademark shirt.
I would say very highly encouraged, but I would never not wear the shirt anymore. It's just part of it's a game day outfit now. There's no reason to change it.
And as for Mummin, he feels pressure to be louder than everyone else.
I do. Sometimes I'll be at games and I just should take a couple possessions off, and I'm like, I can't do that.
Let's just hope they don't lose the voice or the shirt anytime soon for the sake of the team. With TSTV Sports, I'm Cecilia Rodriguez. Loyal fans can truly be the heartbeat of great program. When we come back, a legend is born.
Welcome back. This may be hard to believe now, but 40 years ago, no one knew who Michael Jordan was. That all changed with one magical shot.
I'm sure you're well aware of the legacy of Michael Jordan. From the shrug, to the flu game, to his picture-perfect finish in Utah, his airness has a treasure trove of storybook moments that will pass down from generation to generation. Everybody always gushes over these images, but there is one interesting question to consider when discussing these tales again. What was the first page? Was it the night he took flight in '88, or the night he dropped 63 in the Boston Garden? Although those are great pictures, in my opinion, you have to go back even further. All the way to when he was a freshman at North Carolina. It was 1982, the national championship game against Georgetown in the Superdome. A raucous crowd of over 60,000 was left wanting more, as the two best undisputed teams waged an epic that would come down to who had the ball last. Future legends were born as each team maxed out, bringing their full array to the table. The lead would change 16 times as neither gave way. Jordan, who had started the season on the bench, eventually working his way into the starting lineup at mid-season, unleashed a fervor that took both sides by storm. The Jumpman dropped 16 points on over 50% shooting, but it was in the final minute where he made it really count. After Georgetown went up by 1, thanks to a Sleepy Floyd teardrop, North Carolina head coach Dean Smith decided to call a timeout and put the fate of the game right in the hands of his freshmen. It was a simple play. Drive right, kick out to Jordan at the top of the key, then swish. The Tar Heels were national champions. It was one of those moments where everybody said I was there or I was watching. The fans who were there witnessed the birth of something special. It wasn't just a jump shot that was made in a big game. It was a young man who looked inside himself, realizing his immense potential for the first time. When he began to dig deeper, a powerful force emerged.
Well, up until that point, no one knew who I was. And when I hit that shot, my whole name became Michael Jordan.
It was a glimpse of greatness that previewed countless of scoring titles and more championships. When we come back, we have some burning questions to answer. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to Unhooked. We're going to end the show with some burning questions that I think need to be discussed, don't you think?
I think so.
All right, so very first question. This past weekend, we saw F1 have its very first race in the 2022 F1 season. So, 2021, 2022 season. Just to be straight. But anyways, we have to consider, I think it may be a little too early to tell, but we have to consider who can be possibly the winner of the F1 championship this season. Let's start off with you, Edley. What do you think?
There's a lot of good players, drivers when it comes to this, but I'm going to take Carlos Sainz Jr. He's been very consistent, and I think one of the Ferraris, I think he's going to win it all. I think this is his year.
Interesting pick. What about you, Cece?
Like you said, I think it's very early in the F1 season to kind of figure out who's going to be winning it all this year, right? But I think Max Verstappen has a chance to win the F1 championship this year. He's a defending champ. He broke Lewis Hamilton's 7-year streak last season. I think he has a great chance.
It's interesting you mentioned Verstappen. Red Bull had its issues in this past race. I mean, both cars, Perez and Verstappen's cars, they went out. I mean, Perez was very, very unlucky at the very final lap, just to spin out on basically turn 1. So, I mean, if Red Bull can figure it out, I think Verstappen could possibly make a very, very good, strong run towards being that F1 championship winner, right?
For sure.
But I have to be in somewhat agreement with you, Edley.
Okay.
I think the winner of the F1 championship this season will be a Ferrari driver. Okay. But I don't think it's going to be Sainz. I think it's going to be Leclerc.
Okay.
And the reason why I say that is because the man has just been spot on ever since the beginning of qualifying, the beginning of practice. We knew Ferrari had something cooking this season, right? But he's just been the one who seems to be on top of his game. There's no question that Sainz is actually on top of his game, like looking to get back into like first place as well. But I just think like the person to beat right now is Leclerc. No one else besides that. So it's gonna be interesting to see how the season pans out. It is very early on to tell what actually could happen. Who knows? Ferrari could have a collapse like Red Bull. We never know.
You never know.
But we shall see how it goes. For our next question, I think we always have to discuss madness in March, right?
Right.
So I'm going to ask you, what do you think is the biggest upset or best moment so far in March Madness? Either men's or women's, up to you.
Well, I'm going to pull the worst upset, and I think there's two. First, we had Kentucky losing to St. Peter's. When you think about it, 90% of people had perfect brackets because they picked Kentucky. And when they lost, only 763 perfect brackets was left. So Kentucky losing, big bursts in people's brackets. But another team that lost is Gonzaga. And Gonzaga losing to Arkansas. Everyone wanted to pick Gonzaga, and now them not even going to the Elite Eight. We might see a Cinderella story in the mix. A team might have their first championship. Who knows?
That's your pick on madness. What is your pick on madness?
I agree with her picks in the sense that those are great upsets, especially the Gonzaga one coming. Nobody expected that one. But I'm going to have to go with Baylor falling to North Carolina. I did not expect Baylor to be out of the tournament that early, and I don't think many people did. But that only proved how good this UNC team is this year. They can go far, and I think that we will see them close in this tournament.
It is very, very mad in March, as always. But I think that madness has been spreading to another sport. The NFL, these off-season, I mean, what has been going on?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Like, I mean, just so many blockbuster moves.
Yeah.
Like, it's hard to keep track. I mean, earlier this season, we had Alvin Kamara who got into a DUI. And that's basically been, like, forgotten at this point.
Right.
So, I mean, like, I got to ask you guys, what do you think, with all the various moves in the NFL, what is the most mad of them all?
Miami. They got the cheetah now. And Tua Tagovailoa has a great receiving core. When you're looking at the AFC, they're building. They saw what the Chargers, the Raiders was doing, and they had to step it up. And Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills, we just saw Stefan Diggs tweeted out what's going on. It's in shock. They won. And this is the time for Tua to prove himself. You have all the materials. You have a new coach. And I think Miami, they're going to the playoffs this time. I don't think they're going to have a fluke like 2 years ago when they had a good season and they didn't go to the playoffs. I think Patriots and the Buffalo Bills, they better be scared. And receivers, they're starting to know their worth. You see these quarterbacks are getting big contracts, and it's like, who are you throwing the ball to? You're throwing the ball to me. And I think seeing Devontae Adams going to the Raiders and going back to his college quarterback, it made Tyreek Hill saying, hey, without me during the Super Bowl, we might have Jimmy G and the 49ers could have won the Super Bowl. Let's be real. They came back. So I think he got his ring. He went to the Super Bowl twice. I think now he's looking for a check. And I think the AFC championship might be Miami. Miami might be in it. I believe Miami might be in it. It's going to be surprising again with the playoffs.
Tua having Waddle, Gesicki, and now Tyree Hill.
It's kind of a veteran when you think about it.
He better not turn the ball over. You get what I'm saying? What do you What do you think, Cece?
The GOAT is back out of retirement. I cannot state this. After, 40 days? He couldn't even last being out for a whole 2 months. Man, that's so Tom Brady of him. Tom Brady just couldn't stay away from football, and I expected this move. As soon as he announced the way he did that he was going into retirement, it just didn't feel right to have Tom Brady not in football and then leave on such a sad note. He was doing so well, and for him to not come out of his last season, ending his legendary career on a win with another ring, it just didn't seem right. So I believe that he's not going to leave until he's either forced out of the game for whatever reason, but he's definitely going to get another ring before he leaves.
Another ring? Oh, boy.
Revenge era.
Revenge
on the Taylor Swift revenge tour.
I mean, the team that did beat him in the playoffs was the Super Bowl championship. So.
Hey, well, at least Jalen Ramsey doesn't have to have the last touchdown throw against him. I'm pretty sure he's pretty happy about that.
The $500,000 touchdown.
Yeah.
I mean, it just happened like the day before.
Exactly.
That's crazy.
Tom Brady knew what he was doing.
He really did know what he was doing.
Well, personally, both of you guys said pretty blockbuster moves. But for me, I think the biggest move, for me, it's a pretty depressing one as a Seattle Seahawks fan. Russell Wilson being traded to the Denver Broncos broke my heart. And, it's depressing. Just to see, a player that has meant so much to Seattle, 10 seasons in which... don't bring the hat out. Don't bring the hat out, Cece.
You have a hat to represent, man.
The new era of Russell Wilson.
The new era of... Whenever he says, let's ride, it just, oh, God. I remember him, ending every press conference with, go Hawks, go Hawks. He meant something to Seattle. He always kept Seattle in the game. If anything, he was the reason why Seattle was winning in various scenarios. After the Legion of Boom left and dismantled, Russell Wilson was that guy, and he still is that guy, and he's got so much potential to do more. I'm excited for him as a player to do well at the Denver Broncos, but being from Seattle, it is very, very sad to see him leave because he's such a great player, not only just on the field but off the field as well.
Of course.
When he initially came into league in 2012, he always, from the get-go, every single Tuesday would visit the Seattle Children's Hospital just to see the kids, just to make their faces light up, and it just speaks so much so much volume to his character. He's just that guy. You want to look up to. He's someone who you would run through a wall for, right? And to see him leave is something that just breaks my heart every single time I think about it, and it doesn't look right to see him in those ugly colors over there.
In those colors. And not to mention, he's going to the team that he beat to have his first ring. So that's kind of comical when you think about it. But honestly, the leadership, the person he is, it's a good thing that the Denver Broncos have him as their quarterback. His receiving core, very young. So they're going to learn from him. So, and I'm telling you, the AFC.
It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, Judy and Sutton are going to get a lot of touchdowns from Dangerous. But But as a Seahawks fan, I'm depressed. But a little shout out to our news director, Clark Don. He is emphatic over this move. Man, I wish I was him. But oh well, it is what it is. You know, it is what it is. As a Seattle fan, I must move on. And if you guys are watching soccer lately, Italy fans are going to have a tough pill to swallow. They have to move on as they have been beaten by North Macedonia.
Yikes.
Did you guys know they were a country before I just spoke it into existence like 5 seconds ago?
I did not.
I mean, I love soccer. I always see them play. They're always getting knocked out really badly. It's really the punching bag team. So soccer fans know North Macedonia. I mean, yeah, they know what, but this is a shocker.
What do you think happened? What went wrong?
Italy, soccer is just a moving sport, you know, running all over this field. I just think, even though they're young guys, I think Italy just lost stamina. They had a lot of hits, a lot of hits to make it to the goal. Didn't happen, and this happened at the 91 minute. The game's, if you know soccer, the game's almost over. 91 day, it's not usually 90. It runs in 92, and it was just a sneak attack. And I don't think the North Macedonian players knew that was gonna happen either. I think it's a surprise to them also, but tough pill to swallow for Italy fans. They have to move on, maybe in the next 4 years.
Well, Stacey, tell me, what is your reaction to this very, very shocking result?
Definitely a tough pill to swallow. Like Edley said, they just lost stamina. They just could not finish strong. There was many errors in there that should not have been there throughout the whole game. And, you know, it's just kind of sad to see. But, you know, if you can't finish strong, you can't expect to go further. And it happened again.
Yeah, they didn't finish strong at all. And just to put out some stats out there, they had 32 total shots overall in the entire game. Only 5 of those were on target.
Yeah.
5. Just like wasting opportunities. And here's another thing. 16 corners Italy had throughout the entire game. Guess how many North Macedonia had?
Below 10.
5?
0.
Oh,
Zero. They didn't have a single
Wow.
corner. Not a single one at all.
that's
Not a
very
single one at
surprising.
all. I mean, you could say that North Macedonia got lucky because their goal came 91st minute off a goal kick. But at the end of the day, Italy is the one to blame. They basically did not put their chances away. And when you don't put your chances away, stuff like this happens.
Exactly.
Stuff like this happens.
When you walk into a game and the team is 90% the underdog, no one's expecting them to win, you know, you still have to practice. You still have to have your head in the game. And I think it's just those type of things. They thought it was going to be an easy beat, or maybe overtime, go to penalty kicks, and it didn't happen.
And the thing is that, like, this is the second World Cup in a row where Italy's missed out.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, it was a shocker when they missed out in 2020, 2016, 2018. I'm getting my dates mixed up, guys. But 2018 in Russia, like, it was a shocker when they missed out on that World Cup. But for them to miss it again, and they just won the Euros, by the way. They were a solid team. It's not like they were like, you know, having some, their golden generation was gone or whatnot. They were a solid team. Yeah. To have them go out already, like, it's insane.
It's insane.
Literally insane.
It's those missed opportunities and the errors. They really do come to hurt you.
Yeah, and now the Italy fans, I'm sorry to hear it. Sorry to say this. You guys have to wait another 4 years for a potential for your team to play in the World Cup. That's just, I mean, as a neutral soccer fan, it's just painful to hear, because Italy is just so talented. You have so many great players. Yeah. And to say none of those players coming on the team at the World Cup stage, it's
crazy.
It's abysmal. For our final burning question, I have to pose to you the question about NCCA tournaments. Right. We all know about March Madness. It's well marketed. Everybody loves it.
Yep.
But there are other NCAA tournaments that exist. Do you guys know that? I would think.
Yeah.
We all know that, but nobody talks about them. Nobody talks about them at all. So what should be done to, like, fix these other sports from being as fun to watch, as talked about even more, like March Madness type of setup. What do you think can be done? What should be done? Edley, let's start with you.
I think maybe in the final games, championship games, they should have half times. I think when you look at the football side, they have, in some bowls, they have halftime shows or even commercials, just to get them pumped up. And I also think that with women's sports, the athletes are getting sponsored deals and everything. I think we should see more of them being in commercials. Seeing like women players on TV is gonna you're gonna see a little girl and be like, wow, I want to be like her. So just influence. I think they just need the influence, and they have the money for it.
They do.
So I think entertainment needs to be pushed.
What do you think, Susie?
Definitely entertainment. The hype needs to be there for all the NCAA tournaments, both on the women's and the men's side, especially the women's side. We've seen a lack of that. For example, last year's women's volleyball tournament was not going to be televised at first, which angered a lot of fans because it's a huge stage. These girls need to be recognized for all the hard work they put in every season. So I think that there needs to be an equality factor in that. If you want to bring hype to, the revenue sports, of course, but there also needs to be hype in those other sports. Like you said, the promos need to be there. They are getting NIL deals. There's stuff to put out there. There definitely needs to be some recognition at the national stage for all the athletes in college sports.
You know what I think? Both you guys need to be hired by people who work in the NCCA, so we can actually get these brilliant ideas out there. But at the same time, I like you guys. You guys are staying on Unhooked.
Yay.
It's better for you guys to be on this show. Giving these insightful ideas to our viewers at home. I have to thank you guys for coming onto the show. Edley Chameleon, Cece Rodriguez, thank you for coming on. That will wrap things up today for this week's episode of Unhooked. Make sure to tune into our other shows this week, including College Crossfire on Wednesday, 1-0 Sports on Friday. And on behalf of all the crew here at TSTV, my name is Kevin Bosker. Thank you for joining us, and good night.